What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Van Chats on the Out of Bounds Network. Sorry about last week. It was with Thanksgiving and me being in Switzerland. Life was a bit hectic. But luckily this week, Cole has jumped on last minute. We were literally recording this, I don't know, like 6 hours before this releases. So that's pretty dope. We never do that. But yeah, Cole, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on last minute, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you've been in the news lately. You've been in the cycling media. You've just signed a big world tour contract. So tell us a bit about that, how that came about. Yeah, Israel Startup Nation. So we've had a few of the riders from Israel Startup Nation on the podcast, but now new signee, Cole. Yeah, so let's hear about how that came about.
Yeah, so actually, I'm on the Conti team. They have a
Okay.
Devo squad. So I signed a 2-year contract. Actually, the day that I did the World's time trial.
Okay.
So locked that in. So I was racing with really no pressure, which was really nice. But yeah, so I had a couple of good results. Nothing crazy in Europe, but I won a TT at Ronde Vallée, which is a stage race in France. And then I got second on GC in that race. And then I was like pretty consistent the entire time, getting like top 20s in GC and everything. Had a couple bad crashes, but thankfully no broken bones. And I won the Nationals TT, and just was lucky enough to have Roy Nickman as my director. And he knows a lot of guys. So I was able to get a contract with a pretty good squad.
So Roy Nickman's the guy that set this up, like for the most part.
Yeah, well, he knows Gord Fraser, which is our main director sportif on the Conti team, and he just opened the door for me, got me the contact, and then we were talking for a while, and then I got that good result, and then
What's it like being 17 years old trying to work out a contract with a potential, like, obviously, so you're not riding the world tour, so I'm sorry I was mistaken, but it's like it's a development to go into the world tour. And so what's it like trying to talk to these directors sportifs when you're like 17 years old? Do they take you seriously?
Yeah, I mean, they take you seriously for sure, but they also know that you're young and that you have a lot of room to grow. And especially for my particular case, this was my first year racing the road bike ever.
Okay.
So I didn't have much experience.
What? Rewind. This is your first year racing your road bike?
Yeah, this past year was my first year racing the road bike.
Okay, so how did you get into even that then?
So I was on the mountain bike, but nothing crazy actually. I wasn't doing never even did any of the cups around the States. I just did NICA, NICA is the high school league. And I came up through that. And when COVID hit, I just wanted to get a bit better on the mountain bike. So I hopped on the road bike, and kind of stupid, but I started doing 20-hour weeks just right off the bat.
Right.
Yeah. And so I just was building this, like, no racing at all. So I was just grinding out the hours, doing like 20 to 30-hour weeks with my buddies around here. And then one of my friends was on Lux, and I got on that squad after doing an Everest, and it was all uphill from there. I mean,
literally, I see what you did there with the Everest thing. So you're 16, 17 years old riding 20 plus hour weeks. Like, are you looking at a power meter? Are you looking at anything? Or are you just like going out and putzing around? Like, are you coached? Like, how is this? How are you going about all this? Because I'm seeing, at least what I know because I work with Carmichael Training Systems, and what I know about American coaching and some coaching, like, I would recommend an athlete to do 20 plus hour weeks, depending on the athlete and what they're trying to do and their experience level and so on and so forth. But I do know that there's some coaches that are really strict, like when it comes to their training programs, and they're like, 20 seconds on at this cadence, 100 RPMs, blah, blah, blah. And they get like really in depth with these like pyramids of training of like ride at zone 2 for this long, ride at zone 3 for this long, like they get all weird about it. So were you just out putzing around, like banging out 20-hour weeks, or what was it? Was it all structured? Like, what did it look like?
Yeah. So up until Everesting, I was pretty much coaching myself, and I was up in Tahoe for about a month, like doing altitude, what I thought was going to be beneficial for an Everest.
Okay.
So I was based at around like 2,000 meters, which is like 6,500 feet. So it was kind of like the perfect elevation. I was just kind of doing like 20-hour weeks, like just base, like no intervals, no structure, just going out for like an endurance ride, whatever. And didn't have much structure because I was kind of coaching myself. But then pretty much right around when I started Everesting, I got a coach, my current coach, Simon Kessler, not related to me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he has a lot of structure. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of like big gear, low cadence stuff, and then high cadence stuff. And yeah, it's very structured. So right now I'm doing like every day has structure pretty much.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, now that you're legit pro, it's kind of like it's your job. You know, you have to wake up and do the stuff that you don't want to almost, instead of just going out and wearing a flannel with a big, bag on the front and hanging out with the bros.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, what was probably your most epic ride during COVID? Because it sounds like you did some, like, you hit the guys up and you were like, yo, today's the day. We're gonna start at
Yeah.
like 6 a.m. and we're gonna end at like 6 p.m. Let's do this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what was your most epic ride?
Yeah, we did a 9 to 5. Me, Kyle Cromie, and Logan McLean. We did a 9 to 5 ride, and that was pretty epic. It was like 7 hours, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we had like 5,000 meters climbing because we train here in Malibu, so you got all the canyons. It's epic.
Yeah.
So we're doing like these massive climbing days with like 220, 30 kilometers. And then there was also a huge day that just Kyle and I did, which was also probably a 6.5 hour day. But it was like the one day in SoCal where like it was all over the news because it started snowing.
Oh,
Like
wow.
yeah. So we were out just for a long day, like tempo ride for like 6.5 hours, and it started hailing on us in the last like 2 hours, and we were like not prepared at all. But we
Yeah.
had to we had to finish the ride, so we were just like, all right, let's do this thing. Yeah.
That's epic, dude. So what is your goals, I guess? I mean, like, I had never heard of you, and you started popping up in the media, and like, here's the thing, like, with a lot of you Lux guys, it's you guys are in extreme crazy talents, and I don't know what kind of Wheaties Roy Nickman is feeding you guys over there. Like, you guys are just like, not only are you guys pretty great bike racers, but you guys are great kids. Like, you just are mature kids, great attitudes. I mean, two guys that came out of that program in 2017, when I kind of first heard about that program, was Riley Sheehan and Kenny Boots. And some of the nicest kids I've ever met, and some of the greatest bike racers, and some of the chillest dudes that I've ever met as well. And so, like, what do you feel like that, like, what is your, I guess, like, where, like, what is your goal, and like, what did you get out of that program that you think kind of sparked this whole Israel Startup Nation thing?
Well, I think the thing with Lux is that it gives kids in the US the ability to race in Europe. And there's not too
Yeah.
many programs that really give that opportunity. And that in itself just breeds a different animal, so to speak. Because
Yeah.
racing in the US isn't really, I mean, the guys who race in the US, yeah, they could be good, but it's a totally different beast when you're out there in Europe. It's
Well,
like,
the thing is that you're bringing like six countries together at once, like Belgium is this hub, right? That we're talking about. And so you got guys from Switzerland popping over, you got guys from Italy popping over, you got guys from Germany popping over, you got all these guys from these different countries, and these are their best juniors all coming over to race, right? And so, like, it's kind of like when, Canadians start coming into California and racing in California, like, the racing starts to go up a little bit. Or even when the, South Americans come up and start racing some of the crits, the racing starts to go up, right? Like, you start bringing these better guys in. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because you go to Europe, it's just this melting pot of countries and some of their best bike racers. And so you're saying Lux gave you that opportunity.
yeah, Lux gave me that opportunity to go over there. And also it's like a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids living by ourselves with just the guys in like an apartment. And so like you're kind of forced to grow up almost because
Yeah.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have your mommy to do your laundry, you don't have mommy to make you food, and you got
So
to grow up.
who's running that ship, man? Is it literally just you guys, like, all right, here you go, figure it out. Like, you need to find a train, because that's another thing, like, like, transportation's different over there, like, the way things work, what was it like? Like,
Yeah,
did you kind of have it all set up, or like, was it kind of fend for yourself?
yeah, I mean, it was pretty dialed. We had a mechanic that would drive us around. We had a Swanee that would drive us around, and we had a couple DSs that would drive us around too, and would do all the coordination and everything. but for like food and everything, we were kind of on ourselves. Despite when we were back in Austria, where we were based, we would have dinners set up and everything for us. But when we're racing, we know we kind of make our food and everything. So yeah, we're forced to grow up pretty much.
Wow. No, that's insane. And so next year, like it's no college for you, right? Like it's, I mean, you if you graduated high school even, like you're 18, right?
Yeah,
You
I
graduated high
graduated high school. I'm at UCLA right now,
school. Okay.
finishing up the fall quarter, and then I think I'm gonna hop on some online classes and just kind of make it by, I guess, and
Do
then
the
wait.
best that you can.
Yeah, and then wait till the fall quarter again because the fall quarter lines up perfectly with off season. So I can kind of, as long as they're still doing this online hybrid thing, it'll be able to work out. But if and when I make the jump to the world tour, I might put it on hold for a while, but who knows? We'll
Yeah,
see.
no, like yeah, so let's kind of dive back into that, jump into the world tour. Like, I mean, it sounds like you kind of dove in head first, dude. Like, you went from mountain biking, you started riding a road bike. Now you've just signed, Gord Fraser is known for, I mean, one, he's known for his own accolades. I don't know if you know Gord Fraser's accolades, but he was a
Sprinter
pretty,
boy, yeah.
yeah, he was a pretty good cyclist back in the day. And
Yep.
then, I mean, he ran Silver Pro Cycling out of Canada, Floyd's. Like, I mean, he's ran some pretty good teams. And so the fact that he's, working with this Israel Startup Nation, which is turning to be in an amazing team as well. Like, it seems like Israel's dumping a lot of money into cycling. Yeah, like where do you see yourself going? I guess, because it seems like you've kind of just jumped in head first, right? Like you're in this program. Is there a lot being expected of you? What are they wanting out of you? Like, what do you think?
Uh, not much expectation the first year for most U23 guys, 18-year-olds. It's like a completely another step. It's like
Yeah.
if you thought juniors was hard, just wait until you get into U23. From what I've heard, it's really hard. So not much expectation, but of course I carry a lot of expectation with myself.
Yeah.
I want to do well. But that's the reason why they signed me for 2 years. They want to see me grow a bit, and hopefully that last year on the contract, if I'm waiting to get renewed or make the jump to the World Tour team, I'll have some good Palmares under my belt and some good
So,
chances there.
so did you have to like hire an agent through all this stuff? So I always wonder, like, I mean, and I should have asked this with Kaya because you messaged me after I guess, did you listen to the Kaya podcast? No.
No,
Okay. So like, you messaged me around when that released about the podcasting, and I was like, one thing I wish I asked her is like, she's 18 years old, but she has like this whole agency that's like backing her and like behind her. And so like,
do you know? Do you know who it is by chance?
I think it's like Corsa maybe
Cor-
Sportsman.
Corso, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't really know how that stuff works. Like, obviously I'm not anywhere near the world tour. I race track and a lot of that stuff is kind of handled on our own. If we, that or if we ride with the national team, it's the national team. It's not like I have some agent being like, saying he'll go to these races for this amount of money or whatever the fuck. So
Right.
how does that work? Like, are
Um,
you like looking for an agent or like, you gonna wait until somebody picks you up? Do they message you? Do you message them? What happens there?
Yeah, so at the moment I don't have an agent. Normally you'll get an agent if you out of juniors you'll get an agent only if you're like having trouble finding a team, and those people have a lot of doors that they have open for them, so they have a lot of contacts, so they could get you on a squad, or agents can help you get like shoes and like glasses and stuff if that's not a sponsored item on your team. But I don't have one at the moment, but I'll probably get one before I um, get picked up to the world tour, just because they really help negotiate contracts, and they can help get other teams interested in you and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, Corso is a good one. So Kaya has a good agent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think it's that. I'm not 100%,
But
but
yeah,
like
I think
I've
that's what it
seen
is.
I've seen a lot of these pop up recently, so it's just
Yeah.
kind of one of those things that I look into. So yeah, man. So like, what's the goal next year? Well, I mean, obviously, you have no expectations, but you're a time trialist. Like at heart, I love time trialing. I think that stuff is amazing. I just think like the bike, the aerodynamic stuff, like I love it all. So what's your goals for next season?
Just get a lot of experience under my belt and be able to help some of the guys on our team get some really good results. Mason is like our main GC guy, Mason Hollyman, and it'd be cool to get him a win at the BBGiro, like win the
Yeah.
GC. So I just want to be able to like serve the boys,
Yeah.
like just be able to get some good results for some of the guys because they're a bit older. I'm like 18. But I'd love to get a result too. Maybe if there's a time trial in any of these stage races, I'd love to get like a top 10 or something. That'd be really great. Or get a stage win from a break if I'm in a break. But yeah, really no expectations. And it's hard to say. It's hard to put that pressure on yourself too, because at the end of the day, these guys are basically world tour. I mean, you're
Yeah.
racing a lot of the races we're against world tour guys too. So it's totally different.
Yeah, no, it's a different ball game. It's going to be a time for you to learn and kind of mop up that experience and find the ins and outs and try to shake the nerves a little bit. But yeah, so do you have any like American national title ambition, world's ambition? Like let's pull you away from maybe Israel a little bit as the team. And like let's think about what Cole needs and what Cole wants. Like is there an opportunity that like I don't know if there's going to be even an opportunity for you to come back to the States and race some of these pro races, but yeah, is there any of those that you want to do?
Yeah, if we do tour of Utah, I mean, and if I'm on that squad, because the thing with Israel is that we can race up with the World Tour team. Like they can call you up and you'll race with the World Tour guys. So
Yeah.
if we bring the World Tour team and I somehow get picked to be on the Utah squad, if that race happens, that'd be really cool to do. Home
Yeah.
race, because that's really the only race we would do because we only do UCI races.
What about
I,
U23 nationals or anything like that? Like, do you think you'll
um,
be kind of in Europe and it'll be hard for you to get
Yeah,
to?
I'll probably be in Europe, but if I were to come back, I don't know if I would do it because it's Florida. Like I'm not going to win I'm likely not going to win a flat, race in Florida. But the time trial I'd maybe do as well. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what I want to focus on because for a time trial, it's very specific training, and I could be training for another event around that time because if it's in like mid to late June, I'll probably be in like full training for the baby Giro.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, no, that's sick. I think that's cool. I think that's interesting. And then, do you have any like Team USA ambitions, or is it kind of just mainly like, hey, I want to go to the World Tour. I want to try to crack into the World Tour, and whatever happens from there, that's fine. But past that, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if USAC sends a team to Lavinier.
Yeah.
They haven't in the past year or two, I think. But if we were to do that, that'd be a cool race. I mean, it's like that's a pretty prestigious race to do.
Yeah.
Like if you get a good result there, I mean, yeah, you're really good.
Yeah.
So that would be really fun to do with USAC. But Worlds is in Australia, and I doubt that's gonna happen due to COVID. Australia is pretty strict on that, so they're probably gonna move locations. But Australia would be cool if it happens. Um, yeah, really no ambitions on Worlds really. Um, Obviously a good result at Worlds is always a good thing, and then also my season extends past Worlds too. So I have a lot of race days this year, like 50 plus. So I'm gonna be pretty shelled at the end of the season, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, that's right on. So they go ahead and lay out your schedule for you. And then there's
yeah,
a possibility that there's going to be more because of call-ups, right?
yeah, yeah.
Wow, that's mental. So what are you doing for training right now? Like did you take a break or did you reset it all? I mean,
Yeah, after Worlds, I was originally going to take 4 weeks off, and then we had Israel camp in Israel, which was just a team bonding camp. Like we literally did like one or two rides. So we were off the bike pretty much the whole 10 days or whatever it was.
yeah.
So it really ended up being like a 6 week off season. So I'm slowly coming back. I did a 20-hour week last week, doing like a 22-hour week this week, and then probably like a 24-hour week next week. But I've also got finals, dude. I've got finals. So
Yeah, so what's the one final that you're just like, well, fuck, this might be
math,
I might math. What kind of
math.
math? See, that's the best part is that you just said math, and I know it's not called math. Is
Yeah.
it?
No, the class is called Math One.
Oh,
And
it's
then,
called Math 1? Okay,
yeah, it
because
should
like
be
I
called Math Impossible. It's so hard, dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was expecting for you to be like, oh yeah, it's like algebra, 101 or something crazy.
Pre-calculus. It's
Pre-calculus.
pre-calculus. Yeah.
But it's called Math 1. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's called Math 1. Yeah. That's
So,
hard. Yeah.
how many of these finals do you have?
I have three finals.
Three, three. So
But
three finals.
there's two tests. I have a linguistics test and a math test, and then I have a paper for linguistics too, and then a paper for philosophy, dude. Oh god, it's like weighing on me. And every ride, I'm like thinking, I've got to do this when I get home, and I never end up doing it. So I'm like, I've got
Instead,
five.
you jump on a
Yeah,
podcast with me, dude. That's the
yeah.
way to do it.
Priorities, man. I
If
got my
pri-
priorities.
yeah, priorities, man. This is what brings in the big bucks, especially being that I'm not paying you anything. So, yeah. But anyways, dude. Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you one more question before we split, because I feel bad. I need to get you to your math one whatever quiz. But yeah, if you have one guy on Israel Startup Nation that you look up to, like who would that be? Like who do you pick out that you're like
It's got to be Froomy. It's got to be Froomy.
Froome? It's got to be Froome. All right,
Yeah.
cool. So did you already have you because he's training in SoCal as well. So have you guys been training at all, or did you ride with him at all?
He's not out yet. I think he might come out later in the year, but I'm not sure what his plans are.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully I'll get to link up with him. One of the guys is out right now, Keon.
Yeah.
He's staying in Newport, so hopefully get on a ride with him this Saturday. But I've got my freaking math final. So
well, that's funny, man. We were out in Newport and we saw a guy. I was training in Newport. I was with Eddie Huntsman right before I went to Switzerland, and I saw a guy in like the whole get up, man, like on the path.
Yeah, that's Guillaume. That's Guillaume.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better because I was like, man, like that guy was he waved and everything, but I was like, how many guys from Israel Startup Nation would you actually see?
He's the Canadian national champ.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so yeah, he's pretty good.
Oh, sweet, man. Well, cool. And then my final question for you: do you drink coffee?
I do.
All right. So if you could have a cup of coffee with one individual, who would this individual be? Why would you have a coffee with this individual? And they can be dead or alive. So it can be anyone. Like you can have a cup of coffee with anyone. Who would that person be?
On the spot. Put me on the spot.
Yeah. Well, see, and I do this on purpose, partially because one, I don't plan any of this. And like I said, we got you on the podcast like 2 hours ago. And then another reason is like if you think about it too long, like I feel like if you ever got the opportunity, you wouldn't have that much time to think about it. Like you just have to boom, go. Like pick a guy.
My first two guests or my first two choices would be like cyclists. But I think I need to branch out from the cycling world.
You can do that. Like I know people that branch out from the cycling world. I know people that don't branch out from the cycling world. So
yeah. Ooh, man.
How about this?
I'd say Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps.
Why Michael Phelps?
Yeah. I mean, probably one of the greatest athletes to ever live. I'd say.
Yeah. And so what, like,
an animal.
And so what would you want to talk to him about?
Just like I've heard that dude just dieted like a mother effer.
Yeah.
And I just want to pick his brain, like how he was able to stay so strict on his diet, and also not like crack under the pressure of like all the stigma that was around him. And I just want to just talk to him about life and how he went about training and how he had fun in the off season, if he had fun, which I think he probably did. Just see how he balanced everything.
No, that'd be epic. And then, so what kind of coffee would you have with the guy? Cappuccinos
are always classy. Maybe a flat white.
Flat white. Oh yeah, taking it to the oceanic side of things. So, no, that's cool, man. That's perfect. Well, guys, this is Cole. I'll put the link in the link of his social media down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for listening and coming back week after week. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thanks, John.